and welcome back to the channel. Today we have got a few things to talk about regarding Sunderland. Eliza Mender has signed a new deal, we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the Opta Supercomputer, which has given Sunderland a pretty strong chance of relegation this season, so no surprises there. And also the potential sign of Marc Guiu, or Guiu, I think it's Guiu though, from Chelsea. It looks like that one's going to be done, so we're going to talk about all that in today's video. So first things first, let's talk about Eliza Mender. Yes, he does hate Sam Fender, but also it looks like he's sticking around at Sunderland for a long time. He is signing a new deal until 2030. That's according to Fabrizio Romano. So that's a good bit of news for Sunderland. Eliza Mender came in a couple of seasons ago, had a really tough time, was injured pretty much from, the moment he stepped through. He had a loan spell at Hibs that didn't go particularly well, was largely in the Hibs reserve side, so he struggled. And then last summer, I don't know what happened, maybe, he just had a growth spurt or something, I'm not 100% sure. But he just turned into an animal. He started last season in fantastic form, did pick up an injury where he tailed off a little bit, but overall had an outstanding season for Sunderland. And yeah, it's a good bit of news to see him sign. I think we all know what Mayenda brings. He's a technically very good player. He's finishing improved. We also saw him have the mental strength to come through a difficult spell in the middle of the season last season where he missed some key chances. Blackburn away, I remember him, missing there, and Stoke away, he missed there as well. Back-to-back games where he could have scored the winning goal, but he bounced back. He scored obviously a massive goal in the playoff final, scored a massive goal in the playoff semi-final. He's dribbling, his ball retention, his strength, he's got a lot of really, really good things. And yeah, this is a really good bit of business for Sunderland because he has been linked with moves away. And I believe, unless I'm forgetting something, I think it's the first player to have signed a new deal since promotion who was at the club from last season. So that's good news as well. So let me know what you think about Eliza Mender. I think he's been brilliant for Sunderland over the last 12 months. And I'm really, really pleased to see that he's signed. And hopefully, he's going to be a big part of this Premier League season. I think he's certainly got enough within him to contribute to our team this season and play a lot of games of football and score some goals. I think he has skills that will translate well in the Premier League. So yeah, this is good news in my opinion. And yeah, let's see where Eliza Mender gets to this season. Next, let's talk about the Opta Supercomputer. So, how much weight do you put in a supercomputer? What does it mean? It says it's 10,000 simulations. Apparently Sunderland were the only team in the 10,000 simulations to have not won the Premier League, so that's upsetting. But I don't know what the simulator is. I don't know if it's a glorified Football Manager or something. They put in all the data and sort of added up. I'm not 100% sure. Last season in the Championship, it had Sunderland finishing in 21st place. So they were a little bit off there because Sunderland finished 4th and got promoted. So they thought Sunderland were going to be a relegation contender, and we ended up doing pretty well and getting promoted. So we were quite the opposite. But can I understand why a supercomputer is so low on Sunderland? I suppose, yes. We've talked on this channel, and I've certainly seen fans talking about this as well. Sunderland desperately needs centre-backs. And at the moment, they'd be going into the season with Dan Ballard and Jensen Seelt, or Dan Ballard and Ronaldo, and then playing somebody else at left back, maybe Niall Huggins or Trey Humo's over there. It's not a Premier League defence, is basically the point I'm trying to make there. And I don't know whether or not the supercomputer thinks of it this way and looks at things this way, but that is massively why I think that we are seen as a relegation contender. But the positive news is I have a lot of faith that Sunderland will get the two centre-backs. Definitely need two, but at least one. But I think they'll get two. Two centre-backs, though, that will change the game for them. And I think, for me, if you saw my other channel, Beyond the Big Six, I did have Sunderland tipped to finish 19, so that's me saying that I'm kind of in agreement with the supercomputer. But I think Sunderland will address those issues. And if they do address those issues, I think Sunderland got a really good chance of surviving. And, I think the supercomputer will probably look silly by the end of the season. And I probably will look silly on my prediction video for what I think the Premier League will finish. I think, though, that Sunderland will get the centre-backs in. And once they do get the centre-backs in, why can't they finish higher? I think Sunderland are comparable to Leeds right now, and who I think Leeds will survive. They're comparable. The only difference being that Sunderland don't have the star level of defenders that Leeds have. I think Sunderland have probably got better forward players. I certainly think Sunderland have got a better midfield than Leeds. I think Sunderland have probably got a better goalkeeper as well. It's just that centre-back issue. But once that's rectified, which I promise it will be, I'm pretty sure that the club won't allow us to go into the new season without signing new centre-backs. Once that's sorted, though, Sunderland definitely have a strong chance of survival. So I think the Opta Supercomputer will have egg on its face come the end of the season. And the last thing to talk about, it looks like Marc Guiu is going to be signing for Sunderland. This one's been rumbling on for a while. He was meant to be coming up to Sunderland, I think, over the weekend, and a flight got delayed. I don't know, maybe it was that crazy windstorm we had on Monday that still hit it, but it looks like that's happening now. Fabrizio Romano and Keith Downie have confirmed that he's having a medical today, so provided that there's no issues there, which, you know, fingers crossed, he's a 19-year-old and it's only a loan signing, it should be okay. But then we did see with Jaden Danns last season that a medical for a loan player can't fail. So, you know, it's not done until it's done. There's no buy clause in this one, so it's just a straight up season-long loan. It's one of them, you know, don't fall in love with a loan player. This could be another Ahmad situation where we get this guy in and he's unbelievable and we're like, wow, what a player. But it could also be like Mason Burstow, who we signed from Chelsea and is now playing, I think, in League One for Leyton Orient. Might be wrong there, but I'm sure he's playing in League One. So this is an interesting one. I think he offers something different to what we've got up front. I think he's a physical player. He's a bit bigger than what we've got right now. I think he is different to Wilson Isidore and Eliza Mender. I don't know if this is us done in terms of strikers. I think Sunderland definitely are going to be looking for a left winger, and whether or not it's a left winger who can play up front as well, kind of like what Wilson Isidore was meant to be. Maybe that's what the thought process is there, and maybe Sunderland think that's the way to go. And Marc Guiu, or Marc Guiu, or Marc Guiu, keep getting his name wrong. But if he comes in and, you know, is probably the most traditional of number 9s that we're going to have this season, could be quite interesting. And it could be, you know, something to bring off the bench if we're chasing games later on. We need to pump balls up the field. It could be a really good option, even defensively, if he's of a decent size, which he seems to be, and he can win defensive headers, can be good defending corners later on in games. So there are reasons to be positive about this one. I don't think it's easy to get necessarily excited about loan signings, but he did have a good record in the Europa Conference League last year for Chelsea. I know that's an interesting level. I don't know where that compares to the Premier League, but I certainly don't think it compares favourably. It's just one of them. You know, we have to see how this one goes, and I do think that Sunderland have a good record, I think, of targeting these sorts of players. I think this is more similar to the Ahmad deal rather than a Burstow. Burstow, when he came in, had a spell in League One at Charlton and wasn't great, whereas this guy has played first-team football for Chelsea. He's been in the Barcelona academy. He has a good reputation. And that's kind of what Ahmad was. Ahmad had been to Rangers on loan before he signed Sunderland and did okay. Then he comes to Sunderland and he really takes his career, you know, a few steps forward. And I'm hoping that this is of a similar mould, and we're, not hopefully, but kind of at the end of the season doing the, you know, don't fall in love with a lone player sort of thing. And if that's the case, that means he's had a good season and it's been productive for all parties. So disappointing it doesn't have a buy clause in there, but are you likely to get a player of that quality at that age from Chelsea on a permanent transfer? The answer is probably no. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and please subscribe as well. Please comment, you know, let me know what you think of the 3 issues we've talked about today, and hopefully we're back later on in the day to talk about a new centre-back. You know, that's what we're waiting for. That's the thing that keeps me up at night, is the search for a new centre-back. So thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.